Most good ADs have a process based on their own personality. You have to be willing to do the work yourself. If you're willing to do the work, people see you doing it and they say, can I help? Just knowing that every game's important because every parent's important because they have the greatest thing we have, the natural resources of their kid. That's the most valuable resources we have in this country.
Hey everyone, my name is Pat Cohan, and in this THSADA Director's Cut, we're featuring Dr. Charles Breithaupt, the former executive director for the UIL and one of the most influential leaders in the history of Texas high school sports. By listening, you'll have takeaways on earning influence before you have authority, preventing problems before they reach the sideline, and creating a culture that puts students first. Whether you're a first-year AD or a seasoned leader, this episode offers clarity, inspiration, and real tools for lasting impact. A special thanks goes out to Practice Plan, a zero-cost online platform that streamlines and automates your facility scheduling and rental process. It's proven to save time and generate more district revenue. If you're interested in learning more, visit practiceplan.io. Thanks so much for joining us, and we hope you enjoyed this THSADA Director's Cut.
Dr. Breithaupt, it's an honor to have you here on the Director's Cut show. You've been a steward of the THSADA for a long time, and obviously just completing your time as the executive director of the UIL. So thanks for joining us on the show.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate all your work, all the things that you've done to tell the story about the Texas High School Athletic Directors Association.
Well, and we're going to tell your story a little bit. So why don't you give us that? So from Buna, Texas, all the way to UIL executive director.
Yeah, well, I grew up in a small town. Buna High School was where I graduated from. It's a little town over in southeast Texas. Not much going on except for some athletics in your high school. So you just plug into that and moved on, played a little bit of college basketball at Lamar University, enough to be dangerous, and got into coaching. I thought I wanted to be a surgeon until I took organic chemistry, and then that ended that story for me. I decided I'd be a coach, and I think I have done a lot of organic chemistry with my players because you have to fit the pieces together. You got to juggle this stuff around. My coaching career started out as a junior high coach, just trying to make it in the business, and had a hard time finding a job because there weren't too many jobs back in those days. It's not like it is today. And so I appreciated that. Then I started looking I want to be a high school coach, and I want to be a head basketball coach or a head football coach, whichever came first. And I interviewed for a couple of football jobs, didn't get those. And then I got a head basketball job over at Hardin-Jefferson High School. And it was a great run, had a lot of really good kids, and had a good record. Moved to Beaumont Westbrook, which was a big deal. Had a really good run there. And then came back to Hardin-Jefferson as the athletic director and basketball coach. Really rare in Texas to have a basketball coach be the AD. I learned a lot. There was a lot I didn't know, and I really had to lean on some friends of mine who were athletic directors, and they helped me through the process. And from there, after we won state in '91, I ended up being called to the UIL for a job. I was reluctant to get out of coaching like most people are. You really want to stay with that because you like the connection with the kids and the fellow coaches. But I did that and served as assistant athletic director for 3 years. And then I was the director of the state of Texas, the job that THSADA has now, and started building my own team. We were doing some really good things and really proud of what we did through those early years in the 90s and early 2000s. And then again in 2009, I became the executive director following Dr. Bill Farney. And man, it's been a whirlwind. It happens quickly.
Well, and we've gotten to know you here at the THSADA. You are very willing to do anything that Rusty asks in terms of coming to our shows, presenting the UIL updates. I think one of the stats Rusty gave me was within the 13 years that Rusty's been the executive director of the THSADA, you've never said no to providing support and representation here at any of our events. So he wanted to make sure you really felt that. Thank you from the whole association. But let's talk about like some of the things you've learned in that process, because you've gone through every step of the way, right? Junior high, high school, coach AD, into the UIL, and now, managing the executive director role. You talked about building your team while not being the boss, which I think is an interesting concept. How should an assistant AD or an athletic director build that team to make things happen that'll catapult them maybe into the next phase of their career?
Well, one of the things you find in the smaller schools that if you're the athletic director, you have to do most of the physical work. You're responsible for getting the fields cut and the lines painted on the field and the gym swept and the laundry done. All those little things, someone's doing it. So you have to be the boss of yourself, or you have to have a group of people who are willing to help you get those things done. It might be an assistant coach. It might be another additional staff person, or it's some custodian that doesn't have anything else to do. Finding people who will help you is really important, and then being able to make sure they appreciate that.
How do you get people to help you? Because I think everybody's in this industry is strapped for time. Everybody's got a lot of responsibilities. There's a lot of people calling on them. So how do you get people to help you?
Well, you have to be willing to do the work yourself. If you're willing to do the work, people see you doing it and they say, "Can I help?" And it's like the Tom Sawyer, Mark Twain issue, paint the fence, and everybody else wants to help. But you got to be painting it first. And I think that's true of an athletic director in any school district. If I'm not willing to jump out there and invest some time and energy alongside you, then why would I expect you to do the same thing? While our coaches are coaching really hard and you're behind the desk, you're working. That's still work. It's just a different way to do it, but you're putting the time in just like the coaches are. So knowing that, I think when coaches look back and they see all that the AD was doing behind the scenes, they're shocked. They don't realize all the conflicts that you resolved before it ever got to the coaching staff. It never got to the playing field because you managed that parental problem, or you managed that budgetary problem, or you managed that facility problem from the AD's chair, and no one even knew it. And so I think that's important, that you're willing to step out and do things before the help comes.
One of the things that people talk about a lot is as soon as there's an issue, you need to call it out. Okay, so this is a conflict I have personally of like, well, maybe. Okay, because everybody says, hey, don't avoid problems because they'll just grow. But I think in a leadership role, there's a way some of the great leaders manage problems without everybody really, knowing about it or just not blasting it out to the public for everybody to get their own opinions of what the problem really is. So is there a process that, an athletic director can take when they assess a problem and try to figure out what they're going to do about it, where technically it's not avoiding the problem, it's strategizing against the problem?
Yeah, well, no problem can be left unaddressed.
Right.
And so by not addressing it, it handles itself in its own way, which is not a way you want it to go. So most good ADs have a process based on their own personality. They have a small cabinet of people they can talk to, or maybe it's just their wife, or maybe just their dog. But you have to have someone to talk to about that issue. And then your self-talk and your talk with others about an issue that you can keep confidential gives you a chance to determine which direction we take. And I've seen some fascinating work done with some complex problems that...
At your level, I cannot imagine the amount of factors that you're having to weigh in any decision you make.
Well, I'll tell you this. I was telling Ray Zepeda, our new athletic director, he's been there over a year now, so he's not new, but he's the youngest athletic director we have. At the end of the day, we have about 1 million contests a year at UIL, and in every one of them, there's a winner and a loser. So guess what? There are going to be some conflicts in those contests. And so with that, how do we deal with those? How do we handle those? They're not problems, they're challenges, and they're opportunities for us to showcase our abilities to resolve those. So we're in the business of conflict resolution every day of the year, 365 days out of the year, 24/7, because our staff gets phone calls at midnight. And generally when you get a call like that, it's not a good thing. Something's happened. And someone has an ox in a ditch and they want you to help them. So what I found is that if we will be helpful to our athletic directors, if we'll be open and willing to listen to them and hear their problems and help them resolve the problems that they have, they're willing to help us when we have an issue. Because there are going to come time, there will be times when we have some difficult decisions on realignment that someone's going to have to suffer for 2 years. And they're willing to do that because they know you'll back them when the time comes. And I find that really refreshing to know that our athletic directors are willing to do whatever's best for the team, the whole team, including the UIO. And what's best for our school is really important. But when you ask them for assistance, they're always willing. And they're like Rusty said, they're always saying, yes, we'll help you.
Well, and you've built that relationship, right? It's a reciprocal thing. UIL saying yes to provide help and assistance whenever the ADs need it, and then likewise, the ADs are able to play ball as well. Now, thinking through your career and some of the leadership or pieces of advice that mentors gave you early on that stuck with you, I'm really interested in that aspect. So this could be a coach, this could be an AD that gave you something that, I mean, I want something that's marinated for maybe 30 years. So what piece of advice is marinated for over 30 years and you've come back to?
Well, one thing that we had early on in my career, where we had quite a few lawsuits. So dealing with those, we had an assistant attorney general that we listened to a lot. And he said, in all these cases we're listening to, he said, in the world of random chance, coincidence is highly suspect. So if you take that as a philosophy and think about what people are telling you, wait a minute, these aren't coincidences. These are things that are a pattern that we're seeing with you as maybe a coach or an athlete. And so that piece of advice. And the other thing too is that I didn't learn that till really late. I didn't enjoy the wins nearly as much as a coach. I can't tell you much about our state championship game, but I can tell you about the one we lost in 1984. I can tell you that's bitter, and that always resonates with me. And many coaches are like that. They can remember the losses much more than they do the wins. I would say that because I don't think we enjoy the wins nearly enough. There's so much work that goes into this as an athletic director, as a coach, whatever the sport is, that we ought to be able to spend a little time relishing on what we accomplished, because it's important to the kids and it's important to you. But we're on to the next game. That's just the way the beast operates, and they need to be fed. So we just move forward. I would say that one other thing that I learned later on in life was no good deed goes unpunished. You do something really good for somebody and it comes back that they have their hand out. You do something really good for somebody and they turn their back on you for something else. So that's the way human nature is. It's not that it's the nature of a coach, it's not the nature of an AD, but human beings are different. We're all different. We all want what we want when we want it. That's what we say about our parents, right? When you deal with a parent, they want what they want, and they want it now. They don't want to wait for you to develop that kid. They want that student to be on the varsity as a freshman. They want them to be the starting quarterback. They want them to get the most touches. They want to be the anchor on the relay. They want to pitch the 9th inning, 7th inning, whatever it is. And so knowing that, you have to go in with a little bit of cynicism, but really it's not. You're not being a cynic. You're just being realistic about what parents expect and others expect of you. You can't give them everything that they want. All you can do is give them the best of who you are. And you're not always going to be at your best, the best. You're going to have down days.
How do you keep kind of the magic of high school sports alive with that realism mentality?
Oh, you do, because everybody wants to wear the name of the jersey, the town on the front of their jersey, the name of the school on the front. I don't care what's on the back. That one on the front matters. We don't have pep rallies for people who are cynics. Pep rallies are for those thinking we're winning tonight and we're here behind you. We want everybody to know that. So I think one of the best things that we have in our society is the thing called homecoming. People come home to the football game to see their friends and hang out with a band and the cheerleaders that they hung out with when they were in high school. That feeling of camaraderie and community can't be taken away from us, no matter what happens, no matter how people look down their nose at what we're doing. I think it just shows it's the best thing that we have out there.
I love that. And for you, thinking about your career, what's the best thing or what's the thing you're most proud of accomplishing?
Well, most people think that I'm going to say moving the state football championships to a common site, that was a big deal. But I think offering the opportunities to have our state championships in the best facilities possible, I think that rings true. That's just part of that. And I think having more teams in the playoffs, I think that's been a good thing. I think more than that, it's just keeping what we have educational in nature is that we have professionals working with young people, and they're trying to help those young people meet their goals, and they're keeping them safe. So the safe aspect has been a big part of what has happened during my tenure, because we created a medical advisory committee. We have so many safety rules and policies in place. The games are safer than they've ever been. Don't mean there's any guarantee, but they're safer than they've ever been. The rules are safer, the policies are better. And so parents can send their kids to us and know my kid's going to be okay.
How do you want to be remembered?
I just want to be remembered as someone who cared about all the coaches, junior high, high school, cared about all the sports, all the kids, and all the activities, because it was all important to me, whether it was a tennis match or whether it was a golf tournament or whether it was a JV football game. All of it matters because, every parent wants their kid to have the best coach. So you can't always have a tennis coach that played in Wimbledon. So you're going to have to take who you have. But I think all those games are important. So when I go to a game and I see those parents in the stands and some of them are not behaving very well, that's because they love what their kid's doing and they want to be a part of it and they want their kid to excel. They want the coach to recognize that and put them in the game and play them more. I think that's important, because if people didn't care, we wouldn't have anybody in the stands. And so just knowing that every game's important, because every parent's important, because they have the greatest thing we have, the natural resources of their kid. That's the most valuable resources we have in this country.
What will you miss most?
Oh, man, I said this when I got out of coaching. I will miss the camaraderie of the moment. Travel with staff up to Dallas for a game and in a car just talking and stopping and eating in restaurants. Just the jokes and stories that you tell in the office. The same as in coach's office. I said that when I got out of coaching. I miss that give and take, the locker room and all that. You miss that. I'll also miss the sense of purpose, the sense that what we're doing means something and it counts. That will be missed. And when I said when I got out of coaching, I think it's true here. I missed that elation of a bus ride home after a big win. Man, you can't get that anywhere else. You can't get that. A game you weren't supposed to win and you won and you're on that bus and the kids are singing. Man, you just can't. I get chill bumps thinking about that right now. While we don't have that at UIL, we still help.
You help create that.
We don't create it, but we build around it and we celebrate it.
What do you hope the UIL does for Texas high school sports over the next 10 years?
Well, I think there are a lot of things that are going to be new to the table and probably more new activities than we've had. But I want them to just keep their foot on the pedal about this educational mission of our activities, because without them, we're lost. We're just a club teams and club sports. And just embrace this whole business that there's two important words in the English language: yes and no. No, that's not good enough. No, we can do better. No, do that over. And then the coach talking with the kid, yes, that's the way to go. Yes, I like the way you did that. Yes, that's the way we do it here. I think if we continue to help coaches deliver that message, we'll have a better society. And I think that's what the UIL is all about.
You know, we did this interview like you were going somewhere and you were done being involved with Texas high school sports, but I think you're an addict, and I think you can't get away because you've actually been generous enough to support the THSADA as a board member now. And Rusty said that is a massive move for the THSADA to have that type of experience, the amount of experience you've had over the years managing all the challenges of keeping Texas the best in sports and high school sports. Talk about that experience, what you're looking forward to in that, and what role you'll have for this association.
Well, Rusty's too kind. I will just tell you this. From the time I came to the UIL in 1992, it was drilled into my head by Dr. Bailey Marshall and Dr. Bill Farney, the two previous executive directors. We have to prop this ADs Association up because it's important. What they're doing is extremely important work, and we need to help them get a good footing. Less than 200 members back in those days, and look where they are now, almost 2,000 members. And I just see it growing, continuing to grow, and what they're providing is just what ADs need and what young coaches need. All the things that are coming out of these sessions, the ADs take it back to their coaches, and they help them be better leaders. And so with that, I think what Rusty's doing, he took this from one car parade to look at it now. I mean, we got chartered buses full of stuff coming in here to be seen and heard. And who would have thought they would have the kind of backing? But I'm telling you, I give Rusty a great deal of credit, and the boards of directors that have come along before him and with him, they saw this vision and they saw what it can do, and it's just doing great things for the coaches and ADs of the state.
Yeah, it's truly a 10X story from 200 to 2,000, which we're on the path to get there. And Rusty leads the ship, but we're really excited to have you on the board, and really appreciate the time you spent. You've done a lot for the state of Texas and also this association. So maybe enjoy your retirement, but looking forward to see you on those board calls.
Thank you.